So double check your calculator that, and I just cleared it, but I didn't mean to, that you're in polar mode and that you're in radian mode, okay? And then that your window is what it says up here. We're going to go from our theta minimum to 0, our theta max to 2 pi. Your step should be at pi 24ths, and you can literally just type in pi divided by 24, and it takes care of it for you. -6 to 6, 1, and then -4 to 4, and what? Okay, so make sure all that's happening so that all these will fit in your window, because this was all done very beautifully so that everything fits and works. Okay, we all good on that? Were you following the directions yesterday okay? Feel okay about them? All right, so I'm going to have you write 6 equations on this paper that I still want you to, I want you to complete this at least through the lemniscates, right? So I had you start at 4 and then go to the end. I would like for the first part with the lines and the circles to be done. I'm not sure that there's going to be enough time in class, but you all have these calculators on your tablets or physically have one, yes? Okay, so at least on your tablet, like you can use one in some form or fashion. Okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be an 84. I just gave you those because I had them. All right, so on this here, nope, I'm here. And this is what I want you to put on these 6. And then I want also for after you're going to graph them, okay? You're going to plot a reasonable amount of points to be able to get the shape on the graph. And then you are going to give me the name of whatever it is, all right? And again, I'm not going to make you necessarily memorize them or whatever, but you have that little discovery activity where you can figure it out from what you've done. You want to finish that first before you do these, but you're just going to straight up graph these. The only question is, what does the graph look like? So you have to graph it and plot points. Don't just try and throw something on there. And then what is it called, all right? So for number 1, this is, oh goodness gracious. For number 1, it's going to be 3, oops, would help if it was actually equation. R equals 3 plus 3 cosine theta. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, R equals 5 sine of 5 theta. Number 3, R equals 2 plus 4 cosine theta. Four, it's going to be R equals 2 plus 2 sine theta. 5 is going to be R equals 5 times the cosine of 2 theta. And then 6 is going to be R equals 0.25 theta. Now, on all of these, so if you're doing these and you're not doing them in here with this calculator that you just put in this mode, use the same window and whatnot that it says at the top of this page, okay? I adjusted these so that that would still work so you didn't have to guess around and figure that out. So if you get out of that, if you just put it back in this, then things will look decent. Now remember, you're going to graph them in radian mode, and then when you go to plot the points and go to look at the table, my suggestion is to change it to degrees so that it's easier, okay? But they're better to look at in radians. So just remember to change back and forth. So if you go and try and graph something, you're like, what the heck? And my graph is like, nothing's happening there. You probably didn't put it back in radian mode. Does everybody have at least the first 3 written down? Because I need to add a little disclaimer to this one. So on this one, so that you get the full graph, because here's what's happening. Here's the question yesterday, was we put it on that little circle so you could see the circle draw the stuff. And if you can tell that it draws it twice, the question was, you know, do I draw it twice? Like, how do we do that? Well, remember that we set our window from just 0 to 2 pi. And so if it keeps going, if we keep going, it's just going to keep drawing over itself. It would just draw over itself over and over and over again, okay? So here, The graph is a little bit different on this one, so if we just stop at that, we're not going to get the full thing. Where these other ones, you get the full graph, and if we extended that, the theta max, it would just make it draw right back over it. But on this one, you won't see enough of it. And I put it last because otherwise it causes other issues, and I'll show you what those issues are here in just a second. So on this one, you need to change theta max to 30. And just straight up 30. Don't worry about pi or anything. I just put a number in there so it will be big enough and you get the whole thing and you won't have to do anything fancy. I mean, you could have made it something ginormous, but what's going to happen is it's going to continue to draw, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that here in just a second. So let's see. Can anybody tell me when we graph that 3 plus 3 cosine theta, what's that going to look like? Do you know from what you did yesterday? It's going to be the cardioid. Okay, good. So here's my window. When I go to my y equals, which is really r equals now, because I hit clear a minute ago and I was like, dang it, I lost my little circle thing right here. So, and I do that almost every time, and I keep telling myself. So I'm going to arrow over there, hit enter twice so I can see what's happening, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and do 3 plus 3 cosine theta. Okay. So that when I graph it, it's going to, I can watch my little circle graph it, right? And it graphs it, and you're like, bam, you're done. And you're used to that happening on the rectangular coordinate, or at least it goes off to where you can't see it. But watch what happens when I change my window to, you don't necessarily want to do this because you have to go back and change yours. I'll change mine. And I'm going to graph it. So watch my little circle. And then it's going to go around again. And it's going to keep going around until it has done, it's gone to that theta max, which might take it a while. Now, if you are, if it goes off the screen, you can't even tell that your little circle's going, but you see this little line right here that shows it's still going? It could go for quite a while. If I made that huge, it could be going all day and I can't do anything else. When that's happening, if this is still going, which mine just stopped, let me do it again. If this is still going here, oh, it's because it didn't, I'll just make something up. We'll make that 4 and 4, and it's just going to make it bigger. But as it's going, I need it to stop so I can go back, or if I mess something up, if you hit enter, it pauses it, and it's supposed to pause it, mine's not pausing. Enter should pause, oh, now it is. And it just looks like it's shaking, but I really don't want it to pause, I want it to stop. So if I hit enter again, it'll keep going. I can't even see what's happening. But if you hit on, it just stops it. Okay, so if you feel like your graph is continuing and you can't make it stop, the enter pauses it and the on just stops it, so it's not still rotating through everything. Does that make sense to you? Just little things on how to use that. Any questions on what to do? I want y'all to just keep going through this, finish this, because you should have gotten decently far, maybe not real far, we had a quiz, but finish this up and then get these graphed, and then if you have time, go back to the front of this, okay? Because this isn't due until Tuesday, and we might graph a little bit more on Monday, but I think this is really good if you're really reading it and going through it, okay? Make sure you're answering the little questions. Any questions for me? If you have questions for me while you're going through it, let me know. You can just plot the points on these. I'm okay with that. Yeah, you can just plot the points on there. As long as I can actually see that there's points and you're not just like guessing at the graph, you're fine. Okay. Yeah, finish the 2-page thing first, because then that'll get you through all the graphs, and it kind of explains them and it shows the names of them, and I think it's better than me just telling you all that stuff. I think that you'll get more out of it.